Here we go.
Are we live? Ready?
Three, two,
Yes,
one.
we're live.
No, 3, 2, 1, action.
You're live on YouTube and Facebook. Please do not swear.
Good evening, everybody.
With Bill, Amanda, Dave, Dr. Villain. We'll just give him a sec to start coming in because we are streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. So we've got them on both.
Hey, Rhoda.
Evening, Rhoda, Rachel.
Yeah. Hello, Bill, Amanda, Dave, Dr. Villain, Rhoda, Rachel.
They're all coming in slowly but
I
surely.
can't see no chat.
You
I
might
think
be
it's
on your phone.
does he have to scrape?
I don't know. I don't know if you have to swipe. I don't
Like
know.
swipe your screen?
I don't think you do on your. I can't remember if you do on your phone now. Whether you do.
No. MIT, hiya, Craig, hiya, Mick Day, Oliver, Ollie.
Sam.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is
Olivia Sam. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Evening, everybody joining.
Yes, sir.
She just likes to keep us on his toes, does Sam?
Well, she just done that to me, yeah. Bless her.
So, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us again for our amazing Chit Chat Tuesday topic of all sorts, let's say.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to introduce Nanny Lynn, whom everybody knows.
Who needs no introduction.
Who doesn't need no introduction, really. She's she's the lady of everything. She's the queen of YouTube and Facebook.
We'd actually be better off if Nanny Lynn introduced us.
Yeah, you'd be better introducing us, Nanny Lynn. So I'm going to hand it over to Nanny Lynn now to introduce our other guest.
Ah, right. So hello, Dorothy, who's just come in as well. Julie, Sandra. Yeah, so I'm Nanny Lynn. My friend that you can see there is Dave.
Hello, everybody.
Dave has been my friend for yonks and was always my right-hand man when we did the ghost walks in Gloucester. Hello, John.
Too long, some might say.
Yeah, well, you know. Dave's got a weird sense of humour, but you'll get it. Hello, Angela. We've had some good times, haven't we, Dave?
Oh, yes, definitely.
We're going to get going in a minute, and Dave's going to tell you his encounter of the new inn that he and another friend of ours actually saw something down in the cellar, and he tells it much better than me because he was there and I wasn't. I just interrupted. After I got cussed. Hiya, James. Yeah. So whenever we want to get going, tonight will be hopefully with John and Lindsay's permission. Obviously, any questions? I've got a couple of funny stories that happened to us on our ghost walks and our paranormal nights. We've just been having a quick chit chat before we came live to make sure everything's okay. So technically, we are okay.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Oh, your son's on. James Flump Mason is Dave's son. Hello, James.
Hi, James.
Jim Bob.
He's in Ireland.
Oh, wow. We're hoping to get over to Ireland later this year, aren't we?
Well, maybe next year, depending on what's happening.
Yeah, try and do some investigation.
You can't plan anything yet, can you?
No.
Not really. No.
I've been trying, but no such luck at holidays at the minute. So, Dave, do you want to take it away with the new inn? And any
Yeah,
other
I can do, no problem. Basically, we were doing an investigation there, and I asked Lynn if me and a friend could go down and do a lone vigil down in the cellar. I mean, it's not going to take me long to explain what happened, but this was over 3 hours in the pitch black on our own.
Wow.
We started off, we went down there and we sat approximately, I'd say 6 foot apart on 2 dining chairs facing each other next to what was the old boiler house of the new inn, and which is down in the actual old beer cellars, I suppose that it was. We started out just generally having a laugh and a chat between ourselves to start off with to get the energies going. And we started calling out eventually. And this went on for about 20 minutes. And then I said to the lady I was with, is called Rhonda, so I'll just call her by her name. And I said to Rhonda, I said, there's something behind you looking round the corner. But the weird thing is, this room was square, there's no corner. It was like poking its head round the corner. It was like a dark shadow. We've been down there about half an hour and our eyes had adjusted. There was a tiny, tiny emergency light in the corner, but it was literally pitch black. You could only see sort of a slight glow of this green light. But then I seen this shadow move around and it came in between us. And Rhonda, you're going to have to excuse my language now. I'm just going to say it as what happened. And Rhonda said to me, where the fuck you gone? I said, what you on about, you silly cow? I said, I'm still here. She said, all I can see is the whites of your trainers. She said, you've disappeared. I said, no, I'm still here. So we carried on calling out, and this took about another 20 minutes, and we held our hands out, and you could feel in between us, and it was warm in this cellar, but in between us, it was freezing cold, really cold, and carried on. And then I held my hands out, and I could feel my hands getting heavy, but my arms weren't aching. It's hard to explain, but it felt like something was pushing down on our hands. And we carried on calling out, and then suddenly we started seeing white little, I wouldn't call them orbs, more like sparkly lights. And we just had this sort of cold feeling. It wasn't a nasty cold feeling. It was quite a sort of a happy. It's hard for me. The only way I get a happy cold feeling, I call it. And
a chill.
Yeah, sort of a chill it was. Yeah, and we carried on calling out, and suddenly all these sparkly lights changed colour. And the only way I can explain what happened is, have you seen the film Jack Frost at the end, where he disappears as a snowman? It goes all up into sparkly lights like snowflakes and that. It was like that, but it was coming down in like a spiral. And suddenly this boy appeared, basically, from his feet upwards, literally all the way up. It was like his body was filling up with, well, I suppose it'd be energy, really. And we carried on calling out, and he started to pull us together. And then I thought, I've got to try and get a photo of this. And all I had to do was lean slightly.
Oh, he's lost his connection. He'll be back in a minute. We'll get him back.
No.
Halfway through the story. He'll be back. I bet he's caught it on his phone.
Oh, see, we would say we could have no technical issues if we got it all set up.
I took my mouth. Yeah, I took my mouth. Quick hello to the new ones that's just come in. Stephen, hello. Who else can I see? Derek, hello.
Everybody joining.
I'm back.
Right. We're back on.
What did you do?
I'm back on. Yeah, these sparkly lights started to come down, and so I leant to my right slightly to grab my camera. It was only about 3 foot away from me, in arm's length, and I was physically pulled away from the camera, literally. And
wow.
I basically shit myself, because it was the first time I'd ever experienced anything like that. And we were down there 2.5, 3 hours, and then we heard this bang, bang, bang. Is there anybody there? And it was Lynn, and he disappeared. He did not want anybody else to see him.
But he didn't want a photograph taken.
No, but a couple of days later, we were in Lynn's kitchen, and we did a board, didn't we, Lynn? After you did a protection thing, we did a board, and we found out that his name was Tom. He was 8 years old, and he lived there with his parents. His father worked in the kitchen, and his mother was a maid or something, and he used to help by cleaning the chimneys.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was it at that point, because I know we were talking before, and you said that you was skeptical before that. It was.
I was really skeptical. That was the moment that changed it for me, and I'm into history anyway, but anything like that. My partner, she's a non-believer, but me, she thinks I'm mad, but there's something. We go somewhere. We can't just disappear. And I've always believed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he didn't want his photo taken, did he?
No.
He didn't want his photo taken.
He physically pulled me away.
I didn't know they were down there, you see, and if I'd have known, I wouldn't have come down like I did. And I got cussed by you, didn't I? Oh, yeah. He's gone now because of you. But, you know.
But we managed to contact him 2 days later, funnily, which was, I found really weird, but.
Yeah. But Dave, just jumping on to what Dave just said about his Mrs. Tracy, she says she's a non-believer and she's a skeptic, right? But when we've been to the new inn, she says there's that cat again, and then immediately dismisses it and says, "Oh, it's nothing." And there is a black cat that roams around the new inn, and she said at least 3 or 4 times, if not more, there's that cat again. And then immediately, I know you're listening, Tracy, immediately dismisses it and says, "No, I don't think so." So she said she don't believe and she don't see, but she do. She don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with some people. They close up, they clam up because they don't understand it, or they're frightened, or they don't want to, whatever reason. And it's up to them. It's up to them. But I just thought I'd let that little bit in about Tracy.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Isn't it? Yeah. And then hiya, Julie. There's Julie. Hiya, and James. Elaine. Donna. Could you?
But it's amazing. It's amazing because when we went to Stone Circle on Friday, 2 gentlemen walked across field, and one of them said that they'd got a little girl's energy in their house, and he's actually seen the apparition of this little girl. And then jokingly went, "I'm scared, and that's why I've bought 4." And he's got these 4 massive Alsatians, Auntie. And I looked at him and I went, I said, "You're not scared, are you?" And he went, "Yeah, that's why I've bought these dogs." He went, "This little girl." And then he went, "No, I'm only joking. I'm not scared." And I thought, you are scared. Do you know? Because
of course you are.
How he said it at first. Because I just said, I said, "She's not there to hurt you." I said, "She'll be there just because the energies around your house, there'll be some form of energy that she's been attracted to." It's so weird how you go from like, "No, there's nothing," to "Yes, I believe." And it does just take that one thing, though, doesn't it, to experience. So have you got any others?
Well, when you were I said this last week, but you can quickly say about when
the only other really good experience. I mean, I've had loads. I mean, we've seen a Roman centurion in the car park at the Hunters Hall, Tetbury. Remember that one, Lynn?
Oh God, yeah. And the monk.
When we all stood in a circle in the car park in this pub. It's a country pub halfway between Tetbury and Dursley. And we all stood in a circle, and we all saw this Roman centurion go past us in the car park. So that was one. But the best one was the Woodchester Growl, I think.
Yeah. But that one, there was a lot of sparkly lights in the woods as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
We could all sense that many years ago there was like a little dwelling or a little village there, and they would have all congregated around and in the woods and that. And in fact, we found in the end that was just as spooky outside as it was inside. And then inside we were because we knew about priest holes. and I looked up into this massive big chimney up there. And as I was looking, of course, it was right up the top. And I thought, oh my God, I got the sense of a monk that was up there hiding from the soldiers and whatever. And all of a sudden, I nearly fainted, and I was grabbed by the medium, and just in time before I sort of fainted. But I'm thinking about it now, that could have been just me looking up like that. But then again, that happened twice. I looked up there and I said, there's definitely would have been where a monk hid up there from the soldiers. Whether they saw him or what, I don't know. And then we just encountered that and that centurion, didn't we? But that was a good place. I wouldn't mind going back there, actually, if we could. But, sorry, Dave. Get back to your Woodchester one.
Basically, there was, I think there was about 25 of us at Woodchester that night.
28.
And there was, all right, 28 then.
You know,
she's always like that, Lynn. She's terrible. I was stood in what was a corridor to the kitchen. Most of the people were stood around the edge of the kitchen, and there were 3 or 4 people stood behind me. And this, bear in mind, this is pitch black in Woodchester. And suddenly we heard a growl, and everybody, it was just mass panic. I was knocked flying in the corridor, and everybody running into the kitchen screaming their heads off. Can you remember when we checked the dictaphone later? We checked the dictaphone later, and you could hear somebody say, "Fucking shut up!" But nobody said anything.
No,
Nobody said anything.
I didn't hear the effing, but I heard the shut up.
Yeah,
it was on 3 dictaphones.
Yeah.
It was and that was an amazing night. Yeah, I did tell that one a bit last week, didn't I? But you saying about effing, I'll quickly jump. Have you finished, Dave? Sorry.
Yeah, carry on.
Sorry, Lindsay and John. It's
Right.
Feel free when you want to speak.
Her batteries will run out in a minute. Don't worry.
No,
I could listen to you both all night.
I recharged them, Dave. So hard luck.
Oh God.
Anyway, I forgot what I was saying now. No. What did you say?
Woodchester growl.
Growl. Yeah. What else?
We run about 3 dictaphones. It will caught on all 3.
Oh, yes, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, Pammy Harper, hairdressers. She's a friend of ours. She's got a place in 2 places in Westgate Street. One is a hairdresser's, and next door's building is hers as well. But she's rented it out to a pawnbroker, and we did investigations in there because they got medieval cellars. Part of it was medieval, part of it was Roman, and they were only small, but they were well worth going down there and investigating. Yeah. I don't think you were there that night, were you, Dave?
Yeah, I was, because she cooked for us, didn't she?
Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah. We went down there, and I think there was only about 5 or 6 of us. And we looked around, and as you go down the steps, there was like a concrete square on the floor that had been filled in. It obviously at some point been dug up and then filled in. And I stood on it and I said, "Something's under here, Pammy." I said, "Something's buried under here." She said, "Well, it could be anything." She said, "It could be children. It could be anything." She said, "Because Fred West done some work down here." Fred West, the notorious mass killer with Rose West, from Gloucester. And I thought, oh, bloody hell, I hope not. So anyway, we carried on. As I said, it was only small, so we were calling out. And we had couple of dictaphones again. We call them dictaphones. We call them EVPs now, don't we?
Yeah.
So we had those down there. We didn't really catch anything, did we, Dave? It was because it was small and...
No, but I can remember we left a jam sandwich somewhere, and Pam said a week later it had gone. Can you remember that?
That was you. You sneaked down there at night and got it.
No, it wasn't me. This definitely not me.
Anyway, when I bloody jam sandwich. Anyway, when we got home, or rather the next day, I checked that EVP. Oh, my bloody voice is going now. We checked the EVP, and we heard on there, and the other person who captured it, again, forgive the language, but this is what actually was said. When I was sat on the stairs and then I stood on the square bit, what we heard on the dictaphone was, "Get off my fucking back."
Wow.
I swear to you, that's what it said. And
Sounds
it was
nice.
any of us.
Yeah, I can remember that.
Any of us. And I said to Dave, how the hell can it say effing? I thought that's a modern word, but apparently it isn't. It was used many years ago,
Yeah.
but not so much as today. And I thought, well, even if it was early, back or in our days, it could have been somebody that Fred West buried.
Yeah.
And to actually say off my back as well, it shook us up, didn't it, Dave? Because we just didn't know what to do, whatever. I mean, I don't know whether that's going to be ever dug up and they'll find anything, but that's what it said. That was weird, really weird.
Definitely very weird. Yeah.
So,
but you'll find under Gloucester anyway. There's all the under Gloucester. The council deny this, but under Gloucester, there's all tunnels that are connected to the cathedral, which was then St. Peter's Abbey. And they're all connected. And there's one that goes out to, there's a well at Hempstead, isn't there, Lynn?
Yeah.
And they reckon there's a tunnel that goes all the way out there, and that's probably 3-4 miles from the cathedral.
Yeah. And the Royal William down to Prinkness Abbey. So we were very devious in those days.
We were very devious.
I mean, a lot of the stories was like, some of them were saying that the monks used to go under the tunnels to keep out the way of the public above, so that they would go into an area in the pub or something and have a drink and whatever, and also meet the ladies of the night. And I thought, what? Yeah. That's a bit off in it. That's really but that's what they reckoned. And over the few years that I've done the research and everything, I wouldn't put it past them at all. So that could be why. And a lot of people said, well, why would the monks want to use the tunnels to go to the pub to have a drink when they brewed their own wine and their own ale? But it wasn't just that, was it? It was to meet the women. Because, they were holy men. They weren't supposed to do that. They weren't supposed to have dirty habits. Pardon the pun. Yeah. That was never got a joke. That joke never lasted, did it?
No.
Dirty habit now.
I get it now. Habits with nuns. I'm too slow on jokes. There's a church actually near us, local to us on Answorth, and there's one of the oldest pubs I think is in UK, and that it's called Cross Keys. But the church St Mary's is behind it, and there used to be tunnels coming from St Mary's Church through under into pub. And the other tunnels, obviously, went like under fields and that way and spread out to different areas. Yeah. And I always wondered why a church would have. I always thought it was smugglers, pirates and stuff, but obviously it's not. And when we were talking to somebody who lived local, I think they'd done a little bit of history, and they said that it was when they were, if people went into church to get away from somebody, if, I don't know, is it like safety? They'd use these tunnels to get them out. They'd use some of these tunnels sometimes to get them out and move them somewhere else for safety, which I found quite interesting because it would have been done that way, wouldn't it, as well?
Yeah, they would cut. Yeah, they would have said, "Sanctuary, sanctuary, Esmeralda, sanctuary."
I'm gonna tickle myself.
Too much of this. Too much of this. Too much of this.
Do you want to?
San Pellegrino, please. Oh dear.
Oh dear. I forget we got to keep scrolling down because we can't see it. Yeah. So there it was the bells. Dave said, "Yeah, the bells, the bells, the bells." Ooh. Yeah, but they did have tunnels. Now this brings me on nicely to one of our stories that we used to tell on the ghost walks about St. Michael's Tower. St. Michael's had a church in the middle of the centre of Gloucester. Sadly, that was demolished. I think it was about 1970. No, before that, I can't remember now. The church was demolished. It was a fantastic church, but they left the tower. And the tower, St. Michael's Tower, has on the one corner has stone steps going all the way up to the top, right the way up to the top. And a lot of the Civic Trust has got that building now, and they wouldn't allow you up there. They said it was unsafe. So of course, when nobody was around and I had the key, and you know me, I just had to go up, didn't I? And I took some pictures up there, and where the old bells was, halfway up was I wouldn't say it was graffiti, but there was drawings on the wall that the Scouts did. Apparently there's a doggy bell, look! What a cuddle! Yeah, the Scouts used it as a Scout meeting halfway up this blooming tower. So, of course, the stairs used to go round like that, you know, as they do, spiral. And this particular night, as I said, it was empty. It was all being done out. This particular night, my scarer Dave, not this Dave, another scarer, what he used to do, he used to go ahead of me. I used to meet people for the walk and then catch up with him, and he would pretend he would have the key to open the tower. And I had to come along and pretend it was locked and pretend to open the door. And all the people that was stood there waiting to go in. I can't remember. I mean, it was quite a big crowd, 20 or 30 people. And we were waiting to go in. And I pretended to open the door and realised the door wasn't open. And I thought, flipping it, where's Dave then? Where has he gone? So I was looking around and I went, I said, it's not opening. Trying to, you know, sort of ad-lib it. And all of a sudden, to the left of me was a load of big bins that was outside Starbucks, you know, Starbucks. And Dave come round the corner. He had his black hat on, black cape, black coat, white face. And I said, "What are you doing there, Dave?" And he said, "I couldn't get in. You gave me the wrong bloody key." So of course, everybody was cracking up, and I said, "Well, you know, we got to get in." So here's the key there. So he got the right key, and they said, "Well, pretend to still be scared, Dave," but it didn't work. It wasn't the same. The surprise had gone. But this other night, the surprise hadn't gone. This surprise hadn't gone another night. He was in there. And I went in, and I was stood by the door that leads up to the tower. And behind the door is where Dave hid. And when I said a certain saying, he would rush out. So I said this saying, as I can't remember what it was. I'll just say for now, "What are you doing in my tower?" I don't know what it was, but he used to rush out past me. "What are you doing in my tower?" And everybody would scream, all the women would scream, and even the men would be frightened. And this one night, this man was so frightened, he shot through the lot of us, hit his wife over. She fell on the floor, cussing and swearing at him, and he just screamed and ran up the rest of his street and never stopped. And there was his wife on the floor. He was absolutely scared shitless.
Yeah, you know, amount of men know that we are.
Yeah. And another night, as I said, we were in the alleyway, and this one man was so frightened, he just, "Oh, you bugger," and elbowed one of me scarers. Another night, Dave came out the tower after we'd been in. He has to lock it up, then go to meet to the next scare. And I go the opposite way. And he was locking it up. and the police went by in the police car, and they clocked him, stopped, and doubled back. And they said, "Oh, what are you up to then?" And he said, "I'm the Gloucester ghost." And they went, "Oh, okay." And off they went. They got in their car and went. I swear to you, that's a true story. And they went. They didn't. I don't know whether they believed him. They thought it was a ghost, or they knew about the ghost walks. I don't know. But off they went, and he just carried on as if nothing had happened. And it was some of those stories. You just can't make them up. You really can't make them up. Did I tell you about one of the dean at the Gloucester Cathedral? Have I told you that one?
No.
No. There was a party of us, and we were doing the route, and we're heading towards the Gloucester Cathedral, where there's some old infirmary arches. They're just, what is it, Dave? Derelict? No, not derelict.
It's the old gates to the cathedral,
ruins.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, ruins. Yeah, but they had some pillars. So both of my scarers was hid behind the pillars, and they thought this was me coming with my party. They could hear footsteps and that. They both jumped out and literally pinned this poor man between them. He didn't know whether to go left, right, forward, or back. Frightened him to death. And they realised that it wasn't me, and he was the Dean of Gloucester. So he had to go at them. "Who's your boss? I want to talk to you." I could have been anybody. I thought I was being mugged. And they said, "Well, we'll do the ghost walks regularly." I said, "Oh, you're not going to do them anymore." He said, "You're going to," and he reported us. Yeah, he reported us. And I went to a meeting one day with the council and, with all the events and what's going on. And we introduced ourselves around the table. And I said, "I'm Lynn, Gloucester Ghost Walks." And this woman spun round next to me. She said, "Oh, you're the one who frightened our Dean, are you?" I'm afraid so. Or rather, my scarers did. She said, "Well, in future," she said, "you either don't go around there or you let us know when you are going." I said, "Okay, I'm very sorry about that." So, yeah, we gave that one a wide berth. We thought we better. Yeah, we didn't want to frighten anybody else. Yeah, so but the other one was it the New Inn wasn't so scary, was it? It was. I don't know whether you've seen Great British Ghosts of the New Inn and Gloucester and Forest and Cheltenham. With Michaela, that's my picture with Michaela. You see on my profile, and you were there that night, weren't you, Dave?
Yeah.
We were doing a quiz. Yeah, it was a Sunday night, and we decided to get together and have a quiz. But as it happened, it was all the ones that do the paranormal stuff. So we just thought we'll have a quiz. And if I remember correctly, there was 3 ladies sat on a bench in the area we did the quiz, and they were from either America or Australia. I can't remember. But they said, "Can we join in?" I said, "Of course you can." So we waited for Sean, our friend that was going to be quizmaster. He came up to the table at the back of the room, put down a full pint and took away an empty glass. And 3 people or 4 people that were sat opposite the table, nobody was at the table. They were sat opposite the table, chatting away, waiting for us all to start. And all of a sudden, they jumped up because they saw the glass literally move on the table from right to left slightly, flick over and onto the floor. And nobody was there. It's almost like somebody this side of the table flicked it over. And they stood up and they were going, "Oh, look at that. Did you see that? Did you see that?" And we all heard the third, but they actually saw it and heard the third. So then we insisted the management show us the video. And Michaela Strachan, when she came, and other people came to find out what had really happened and stuff. She said, "Well, how can you explain it was filmed then when you're only doing a quiz?" Which was a very good question. I said, "Because at the back of the room, there's a little CCTV camera." He laughs at me because I always add another C, don't I? CCTV camera. And it was pointing to this table where a lady has been seen many times. and she's the lady of a nanny. She was a nanny of 2 children that died in the fire, and she looked out into the courtyard, still trying to connect to these 2 children, but she wasn't caught on that camera, but that point was, and you could see it on Woodchester now. What Woodchester? YouTube. If you look up Great British Ghost Lynn Sindri, you'll see that footage. And God, we had loads of hits, didn't we, David? A lot of them said we faked it. There's a lot of people said we faked it.
Really? But how can you if you were caught on?
Exactly. There was nobody near it, and they were saying we had a bit of string, and when the bloke went like that and was pointing, he had the string. I said, well, if he had the string, he would have pulled it towards him, wouldn't he? The pint was going the opposite way. I don't know a bit of string or a bit of wire, strong enough to go forward and then flip over. Yeah. No. So anyway, I just said to her, well, they can think what they like. I was there, they weren't, so they can think what they like. And it was a great series. It took a day and a half to film, but it was only half an hour on the. Is it half an hour or so on the series? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But we were just laughing so much. Yeah. Sorry.
We're going to share the link.
Great British Ghost. Lynn Sindri. My son put that up for me, and so that was great. That was, and meeting all the crew and everything, and then we had an Italian crew come over, and they wanted to film it in that. Oh, they was nice. Italian men. Look at Dave's face. Well, they was nice. They was bloody hotties. What do they call them today? They don't say hotties today. They say what? Fit. They was fit.
They were fit. Like Gino Campio, or what do you call him, Gino?
And then we did a seance in the back room of the New Inn, and filming and stuff. And then I was picking up stuff in this place called Verona, and they said that's in Italy. And I picked up Verona. I picked up a name of somebody, and all of a sudden I said to the one cameraman, I said, "This is for you. This is one of your exes." And he went, "No, nothing to do with me. No, nothing to." I said, "Oh, okay, sorry." And afterwards, the producer said that was him. That's where his girlfriend was, and it was Verona, but he wouldn't accept it on camera. Yeah. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. Perhaps I shouldn't have said anything." But it shocked him, and he said, "No, nothing to do with me." But
it's
amazing, it actually.
But isn't it amazing on people that go to get they'll go to get readings, or like you say, you'll pick something up. But then the minute you give them something that they can acknowledge, it's like, no, it's like a fear thing steps forward, a barrier. And it's like, because my mom's exactly the same. My mom went to a spiritualist church not long after my dad had died. And this spiritualist who they went to see said it gave a lot of reference to my dad so my mum could understand. And then he said, but he's playing tricks on you, because when you're getting in your car, you're driving to places and you don't know why you've gone down. You don't know why you've turned left when you should have turned right. And she says it's just Mick playing with you. And my mum just stood up and walked out and never went back. And she doesn't believe a word of it or anything. But it was actually happening to my mum, where she was getting in car and she'd start driving, but she'd end up somewhere where she wasn't supposed to. Do you know what I mean? And my mum thought she was going daft. And apparently my dad was a prankster. And but my mum shut down to it. I've been to readings with mediums, and one of them we went to, and they said that there were 3 women in my dad's life, which would have been my mum, my sister, and me. They gave me dates, so many dates that were relevant. And then they said, but the 2nd of October is really relevant. So I looked across and I said to our Jen, I went, that's our James's birthday. And this were only a couple of years back, weren't it? Our James is now 16, and nobody said anything. And my mum's like, no, I'd it shut down. Then afterwards, I was talking to my Aunt Lorraine, and I said, oh yeah, this spiritualist, and they said 2nd of October were really relevant. And she went, do you know what that day is? And I went, no. She went, that's your mum and dad's wedding anniversary. I went, it's not, it's our James's birthday. And she says, no. She went, that's your mum and dad's wedding anniversary. That's the day they got married. And my mum still was like in a shutdown mode. She still wouldn't take anything that come through. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. And it baffles me.
This is weird, because how many times recently have you and I spoke and said something similar or led into something else? And you have now just led me into exactly the same sort of thing. I was at Spiritualist Church once, and I was getting a message, and they were saying this, that, and I said, yeah. And they said, and March is very relevant to you. And I said, yeah. And they said, the end of March is very relevant to you. The end of March. I said, no, I don't think so. And they went, oh, yes, it is. The end of March is very relevant to you. And then I thought, oh, yeah, that's our wedding anniversary, the 30th of March. And the whole congregation just burst into laughter. And she said, how can you forget your wedding? Easily now, but I was so embarrassed.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so I just couldn't believe that I just didn't register what she was saying. And it was our anniversary, our wedding day. I thought, well, oh my God.
I will never forget your wedding anniversary from now on, because my dad's birthday is the 29th of the same month.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget it.
Tone always says, is ours the 29th or the 31st? I said, none of them, the 30th. I said, it was Grand National Day. We went on honeymoon to Jersey. The horse that won that day that he was going to do was Highland Wedding. We were going to an island, and it won. I said, oh, and he still says, was it the 29th or the 31st? I said, no. What's this long thing here? I had the same. I went to see someone after I lost my mum. This medium was telling me that my mum was ready to go and was tired, and I was like, no, you're wrong. She was talking about getting back on the boat. When she gets better, called her a fraud. Phoned my stepdad to be told that the day she died, she told the doctor she wasn't going to continue with treatment. She was tired, and I didn't want to do it anymore. She had mentioned makes that I didn't know too, and my stepdad checked my mum's. Wow. You see, that's it, isn't it? You don't know all the facts until.
I think that's quite relevant, though. You know, again, when you get information and you get it verified by somebody else, I find that really interesting. Just because there's no way if you didn't know it, then how could a medium know it? You know, it's
exactly. Yeah, like Livia finished said, for me, the fact I didn't know any of this stuff was more confirmation than if I had known when I went to see her and I called and apologized. Yeah, go see her. Yeah, you just don't know. No.
No, you don't.
Like you said, a lot of the messages, if they got little things that nobody else would know as well, is more validation. I mean, there's an awful lot out there that messages are very generic, aren't they? And you it could be anybody's. But when they get little bits of information, then that's totally different. You haven't never been to one, have you, Dave? Have a reading, Dave?
I've had a reading, yeah. I've had a couple at some of your platform nights, but not to an actual church.
Yeah. See how I did that? I brought Dave in because he looked a bit lost. Did you see how I did that?
Can't get a word in edge with two women.
You get used to it, don't worry.
I told you to put your hand up.
The funniest thing I can remember is when you fell through the ceiling of the new inn. Can you remember that?
Oh, I told them that last week. I told you that last week, didn't I? When we
I remember now, yeah.
I had a flipping great big bruise after, and everybody was still laughing.
Can you remember? Can you remember as well when I found that room that nobody knew was there up in the attic, and it had purple wallpaper in it?
Oh, the one at the top, the very back underneath the beam.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. There was another old door, wasn't there?
Yeah.
We went everywhere where we shouldn't have been.
We tried that, didn't we? We went to a hotel. What hotel called now? Mosborough Hall. And while we were in Mosborough Hall, from outside, if you look up at the hotel, there's a really small window,
like a porthole.
It's like a porthole.
Right. Yeah.
But when you go in the hotel, somebody's actually been up to the window. There's no doors.
They went to the only way they went when they found the window.
They found it by chance.
They were all ivy growing up, and they sent this gardener to come and cut this ivy. And as you were cutting this ivy, you saw this window behind. You look through this window, and there's a desk and a box on the desk and some other stuff in there. Nothing significant. But nowhere in the hotel can anybody find, even the owners and people that work here, they can't find an entrance into that room anywhere in the hotel.
I can't believe it. You've just done it again. It's saying to me, look, hold that thought. I need a wee. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, really?
So how long have you been into paranormal stuff then, Dave?
My sort of thing started really with sort of the history of places, and it just worked on from there, really. Like I said, I did have a group, but that fizzled out to nothing after a while, partly because of my health issues and that. And I would like to start it up again, but it's so expensive to get insurance and stuff now. So, but history-wise, I just love it. I just think it's all connected. It's got to be.
We love it.
And now, since I've seen that full apparition, I just believe that we go somewhere. We just don't disappear in the dirt.
Yeah. But I believe that too. We always say an energy source never dies. So if we're energy, where does our energy go when we die? Do you know? Yeah. That's how I look at it. But you know, insurance actually, it's not too bad. We insured for 14.
Depends how many people you want to go. The more people you take within your group, the more expensive.
Yeah, I think it was costing me probably £120 a year, and that was for £3 million worth of insurance.
Yeah. That's about similar to ours.
That's similar to ours. And we're like got 14 people on ours, haven't we?
I just love it. I'd love to start it all. Now my health's getting better. I'd love to get back into it properly again.
Oh no,
I would.
Yeah. Got troubles back.
I would though. I would get back into it though, Dave, because even if at minute you're not getting out to locations, to actually do a page with the locations and the history to it.
Yeah.
That's a real that to me. I'd watch that, and even if you did like some lives and you talked about the history of the place.
Yeah.
That's what I said I wanted to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have got the page. The page is still on Facebook, but I can put it back to active where anytime I want.
Yeah.
What was that? Your blog?
Yeah, DJ Paranormal.
Oh yeah.
I'd get it back up. I'd activate it, and we'll share your link out.
Once I'm better, what we're going to do, me and my partner, we're going to go round all these places. I say like National Trust places in Warwick Castle, Goodrich Castle and stuff like that, and start taking photos of that and finding out a bit of history of the places.
Yeah. But not try and get some. Sorry, it's a fly. Try and get some of the history that isn't perhaps recorded somewhere else. Yeah. That's what I intended to do. Yeah.
Deeper history.
So anyway, this secret room again. Look,
Yeah.
This was at Craignos in Wales, and we were shown around, and we went outside as well. Beautiful. Have you ever been, Lindsay? John?
I've only been
Craignos?
to. I've only ever been to Rhyl in Wales. I've not been anywhere else.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't go, did you, Dave? It's quite a way, isn't
No.
it?
I was working at Glastonbury.
Ah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. So we went to Craignos, a few of us, and when we went outside, we were looking all around, and we'd just been inside. So I said, "Hang on a minute," and there was like this turret, and I said, "That window up there, where does that lead to?" And the bloke that was showing us said, "Nobody knows. We can't find it." I said, "Well, there's got to be a room or something up there, surely." He said, "No, we can't find it." So I said, "Oh, that's weird then." So we thought we'll have a look round and whatever. And when he disappeared, we went up to we went through one of these old doors that had old stairs, and we could tell that nobody'd been up there for years. And we went into the room, and it was that room. And we went down and told him. He said, "Oh my God!" He said, "I've been here 8 years." He said, "I've never known." And it probably wasn't found because it was off a room that was used as the bridal suite, but it was along a corridor, and the door didn't look like it was a door to lead anywhere, and that's why they didn't find it. I mean, other people in the pub, the managers, whatever, they might have done, but he didn't. And it was that very room. So that was weird that you said about that, and then I said about this.
What else are we going to lead into?
Oh, God knows. Well, again, Craignos, we had we split up into 2 or 3, I think, groups, and we were down in the theatre part where Adelina Patti, you know, the opera singer.
Yeah.
Do you know her? Yeah, she was. That was her home at one point, and that's where she sung. And they had all like the old famous. Like Puccini and whoever what is it? Not the artist. You know what I mean? The classical music and stuff. Musicians. There you go, musicians. And apparently she had a lot of she took thousands of pounds where the gentry, the musicians, even royalty would come and see her. And her favourite song in that theatre was "No Place Like Home." So we've heard it played on an old like record that they'd had of her, and I said, "Let's have a sing song then." And you never know, she might appear. So we sat there, and we said, "Right, off we go then." And I was going, "There is no place like home," and I couldn't sing. You see, I can't sing. And I was going, "There's no place like home." And all of a sudden, I felt like I could sing. And I was getting up to the high notes. And they were going, people were, and then we had a call from the walkie-talkie. "Who's singing down there?" And they said, "Well, we are, but, you know, we're singing on." And they said, "Well, we can hear it from up here." And I thought, my God, that's not me, is it? I can't sing. And what are you doing, Dave?
The doggy wants to lie down.
I thought you were just your trousers or something.
No, the dog wants a wedge.
Hey?
The dog's wedging between the arm of the sofa and me leg.
Well, I'm glad you clarified that. The wedge, yeah. I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah.
Good. Then it's not one of them type of shows, Dave.
Linda Joyce.
So we saw all the lights from the stage and coming down the stairs, and we reckon she was there. We reckon she was. Her energies were there, because it was brilliant. I mean, it echoed in there, and I loved singing it, and I still got it in my head now to keep wanting to sing. It was amazing. But when that other group come down, you know, they come down and they said, "Well, who was singing?" They said, "We could have hear that. It's loud." You know, I said, "Well, we were all singing, but Lynn was the loudest." But that was the same place I told you about last week, where I got my sheets pulled down off the bed off me. You know, I was supposedly tucked in by a nurse, and I was telling her to, you know, go off, F off. So that's what I told you last week.
James has just put something in comment about sort of place in Gloucestershire that's he'd love to go, but they're knocking it down. Is it an old jail?
Prison. Gloucester Prison.
Gloucester Prison?
Gloucester Prison, yeah.
No, they're not knocking it down. Oh, God. They've, for a long time now, they've said they're going to do something with it, like create a hotel or flats or whatever. But it's been on hold for several years now because it's been rebought by another company. And this company has been hiring it out to paranormal teams. And they've been getting so much interest and so much money, they've held onto still doing paranormal stuff. So I think it may have fell through. It may have fell through, I think, to be in a hotel now. I don't know. But my argument and what has really annoyed me, and David knows this, when I did my walks, I used to talk about the prison, and our other friend Darren and Nick Knack, they both worked at the prison, and they'd heard all these stories, etc., of what's been happening there. And I said, when I found out they were going to do this to it, because it's literally, it was an old jail, so much history there. And I said, why the hell they keep on in Gloucester about the nighttime economy? I said, the only nighttime attraction, apart from restaurants and pubs, is my ghost walks. Yeah. Why don't they incorporate the walks with the prison? They could have overnight investigations. They could have the weekends for families for these
experience.
Yeah, actors that come in and they could dress up and do like a play or something from the different eras, from Roman times up to the modern times, all dressed up and do that, like, all in the prison, paranormal at night, museum in the day, and that the weekend. There's their economy. That would make mega bucks. No, they didn't bloody listen, did they? But they must have listened to a degree, because they have got these paranormal groups that go in there now. How long, much longer, we don't know. But they were charging quite a bit. And Carol Vickers knows the bloke, and she's trying to get us in there. But we want to do a smaller group, not a great big group, because. But then again, it's a massive prison. It is massive. You have to walk round from the front of it and the base, the entrance, and then you go into the area where the prisoners would meet their families, and then you go out of that building and around into at least 2 or 3 more blocks, isn't it, Dave? Yeah. So it's a big place. But they've already demolished some of it that wasn't didn't have any historical value. But we do know for a fact there's still about 250 bodies underneath the ground where they were hung and buried under there. So,
I'd love to go there.
They'd have to, I don't know what they've done with that. I mean, everything's hush-hush at the moment. All we hear is you can hire it out through groups, blah, blah, blah. But there's more to it behind the scenes. I know there is.
Yeah,
I think at the end of the day is they're worried about money, because when I was running my group, I tried to get in there and I emailed the company that had bought the prison, and they said they didn't want anything like that going on there because they wouldn't want us to find anything, and if we did, they wouldn't be able to sell the flats and everything that was sold there.
Yeah, so, that's right.
But suddenly now loads of people are in there doing it.
Yeah, but didn't they, that one that you're on about, didn't they sell it to some other company?
I'm not too sure on that.
I think they did, and that's the ones that's taken over the funding now. Yeah. I think that's all it is. It's just money. And I think eventually...
It is with a lot of places, though.
We contacted a place near us in Rotherham, and it's called Magna. It's an old
Magna Centre.
Magna Centre. It's an old steelworks museum. And we once went there about 6-7 years ago, weren't it? With a company from Birmingham that had hired it out doing a paranormal investigation. One of these events. And I mean, there must have been only 15 people there, and it weren't expensive. So I'm presuming they didn't pay a lot to hire it out. Pardon me, but we contacted them, emailed them a couple of weeks back when they got back to us. £1,500 they want now just for me and Lindsay to go in at night.
I didn't like no time.
Wrong.
Oh no! I mean,
Not
Woodchester
paying that.
Mansion charge. Woodchester's nearly £800 a night, but you are allowed 30 people, so you can charge them to get the money back. But a lot of these places, they want £150 to £200 deposit before you ask people to go. So if you don't get the amount of people go in, you've lost out. So it is all money, definitely all money now. And wherever you go, they want to charge you.
Same with that. Though. Anything with paranormal, you can add pounds and pounds and pounds on because it's got the word paranormal in. And like you say, I think a lot of these places, if they didn't charge as much as what they did, they'd have more people wanting to go in. But because they're charging that much, and especially if you're only going in as 2 or 4 people, and then if you're going in as a bigger group, then charge. Do you know what I mean? Charge something so much per person to go in, rather than just charging that on the whole. You're covered on your own. You're covered on. Well, we're covered on his own insurance, so we're not going to be touching their insurance.
No,
just,
I used to do.
James, 1,500.
I mean, it's like it annoys me because there'll be a security guard there all night anyway. So it's not as if they have to have extra staff there for us being there because there's only 2 of us, or maybe up to 4 of us. We won't be using electric because we have all lights out, don't we? When we're doing an investigation, so it's not as if we're using their electric or anything like that. So
that's right.
James, you know the castle by where I live, Narrow Walk Castle, that I bet is on. I'd love to go there, but isn't any people to do stuff like that around here. I'm not sure where you are, James.
He's in Warren Point, Linz.
I don't know where Sam is.
No, I don't.
Near City.
What I'll do is I'll ask Sam, because there's a lady called Sam, and she's from Ireland. But I don't know which part. But they do paranormal and
it's Life After Life.
After Life TV productions.
Yeah.
But they're in Ireland. They do paranormal investigations, James. So if you're interested, get in touch with Sam because he's lovely, aren't he? So
Yeah.
Hey, Lydia.
Yeah, that's
evening, everybody.
But somebody said that the jail used to be a museum. There was a museum in the Gloucester prison at one time. Yeah, and then they closed that down. Hi, Lydia. Hello, darling. How are you? Oh, Joe Max says there's an echo.
I have to remember Warren Point. There will be a slight echo. It happens every so often.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I can't understand why.
It's fine, and then all of a sudden it seems to just go, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But if anybody's got any questions for Dave or for Nanny Lynn, please pop in into chat, and Nanny Lynn and myself will pass them on to Dave or read them out for Dave to answer. Sam's put, there's a mill in my village that a mad axe murder killed the owners, and it's said to be haunted, and he was dragged behind a horse and cart up the road, put into a carriage hanging from a tree or cage. And there is a stone there to mark the area. He was left to rot for 40 years and only taken out of the cage and then buried after all that time. Wow.
Oh, that's awful. Oh, that's awful, isn't it?
20 police were bombed about right there. So if you look at the story, will do. Thank you, James. Sam, you're going to have to send me.
Anytime, Lydia, that you're down my way, I don't drive, darling, but you're welcome anytime. You're going to have a Nanny Lynn cuddle.
You have to give her a squitch like that.
Yeah.
Coach. Yeah, Welsh. Only the Welsh can coach.
Anybody can cuddle.
Anybody can cuddle, but only the Welsh can coach. That's the saying.
Coach, all right, okay.
She can have a coach.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, yes, I like my cuddles.
Yes, I do.
Story of a
oh,
truck
it's a
driver
story. Yeah.
that's seen the ghost of the murder recently. Ah, yeah. I'm just trying to think of some of the other places we've been to. We went to
Landfill in Workhouse.
Yeah.
Remember that one? But that was quite disappointing, that was, for activity.
Oh,
Up
was
by
that that
Welshpool.
jail? Was that jail when half of it we couldn't go in?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's
went out.
true,
It was only it was a I think, was it a workhouse or was it a prison?
Workhouse.
Workhouse, was it? Yeah, we could only go down the bottom floor. The top floor we couldn't go up, and then there was loads of rooms up there and corridors and stuff, wasn't there? But we weren't allowed up there, so that was a shame, because we went up a fair way to it as well. But it's annoying when you get there and then told you can't access areas.
Yeah.
If we knew before, you wouldn't have booked it, would we? But
No.
We've said that on a few, haven't we? Yeah, we've said that on a few. When we phone places up and they say, "Oh yeah, you can come. You've got access to this and access to that." And then when you get there, actually the rooms you've got access to are the most tiniest little rooms, and that's all you've got to work with. And it's like you've just you get, because you've done with other teams. It's that contamination that comes in then, because you can't do EVP because you're picking up noise from other people. If you hear a bang, you don't know whether it's other team that's making them bangs or anything. So it's to me, like you said, locations are so key for decent sizes, and they should tell you really how big it is. So
we've been quite lucky with most of ours.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a good one that we went to. That Robin Hood Experience were an amazing location to get everywhere in that. Antwerp Mansion.
Yeah, that was big, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I
can't wait to go back to I can't wait to go back to Antwerp Mansion, to be honest. I think that place has got a lot more to give. I just can't wait to start experiencing things like you have, Nanny Lynn, and like you have, Dave, and getting them them kind of experiences, because we've not really experienced we've experienced things, but not like the apparitions.
We haven't yet, Derek. It's one we're looking at doing.
Do you know? And it's something that I mean, I know if you want it too much, I don't think it'll happen. But I think
it's usually when you don't expect it. Yeah. But it's like we were saying last week, wasn't it? Everything we've talked to you about tonight was just basic equipment or nothing. All our experiences wasn't it, Dave? There's no.
I think we were more spiritual than technical.
We were,
picking up stuff.
Yeah, we had a video camcorder, didn't we? Obviously torches and dictaphones, and that was about it. That's all we had. We didn't have any ghost boxes or Alice boxes or necrophonics. None of that. Nanny Lee never been anywhere that felt so bad or negative that she wouldn't want to go back again.
Good question.
Very good question. Not really.
I think the only time you ever got any sort of negative, Lynn, was when we were doing it was a platform night and you started shouting out.
Oh, Dick Witt, I told him about that last week.
Yeah.
When I told it was you. You was taking the pictures.
Yeah, I know.
And I said, stop flashing. I wouldn't say I wouldn't go back there now because I was that scared, because that could have happened anywhere, couldn't it? That they used my voice. But
John was quite negative though, wasn't he?
Yeah. John, the bloke from the Dick Witt was very negative. Yeah, it was.
John was a spirit, by the way.
Yeah, he was the a merchant at the New Inn. The Dick Whittington. And in 1604 we had the major Black Death plagues in Gloucester and a lot of around the country. And he loved his dinner parties. And he was an alderman of the city. What today would be a councillor, and he loved his dinner parties and held them upstairs in his dining room, whatever was there then. And he would invite the people with the money, the mayor and whoever, the other councillors, etc. And this particular time, as I said, when the plagues was here, he had it was either a servant had died or got the symptoms of the plague, and there was this young girl that worked there with him as well. Oh, the man for the toilet, yes. And there's always a toilet joke. And he he didn't tell these people that these servants and this young girl had the symptoms of the plague. So, Dave's gone again.
He's back.
They found out. He's back. They found out, and they banned him from being an alderman of the city. They fined him £100, which was in those days a lot of money, and they boarded up the house. But what they didn't know was they boarded up the area where this young girl was hiding. So they literally boarded up this young girl, which was down in the cellar, but is now the lady's toilets, and she's the one that one of the ones that haunts the Dick Whit. So when the Dick Whit was a pub and it was really thriving, people used to go there first before they went to the nightclub. And a lot of the women said they didn't like the noise, the feelings they had in the ladies' toilets. Yeah. And some of them said they'd heard crying in there as well, and yet nobody was in there. So we believed that it was that young girl that, you know, she literally died a horrible, lonely death, hidden in the cellar area. So obviously that wasn't very nice, but that went on for years and years of people still sensing her and hearing her. So that was one of the main stories of the Dick Whit, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a location where, when you've been out in the group, like when you went out with Dave and everybody else, did you ever go to a location that affected any of the people that you was with?
It's got to be Woody and Martin, hasn't it?
Woody and Martin and Robert Rakes and Nicky.
Yeah.
Nick Nack had a strange feeling in Robert Rakes' house. She was stood in the window, wasn't she? She felt all funny or something. And she couldn't explain it because she believed, but she always said, "Oh, I can never get anything or see anything or feel anything." But she did that night and said she couldn't forget it. She also couldn't forget Woodchester, could she? Yeah. When we play that Woodchester Growl, Nikki hates it. She won't listen to it. And that's the one I said to you and Dave said to you earlier about that man in the that shouted out, "Shut up," and the dog was growling and that. So she didn't like that area. She didn't like the Robert Rakes area, did she? And then another time in the Robert Rakes area, we had a medium with us, and it was like it's a pub. It's called Robert Rakes House in Gloucester, and it was the founder of Robert Rakes, the Sunday school, and he used to have the children in there doing Sunday school. And Mrs. Rakes would bake them cakes and stuff, and they'd go to Sunday school literally on a Sunday because they worked in the factories on Monday to Saturday, and so that's quite a historic building, and we had this medium that went up the three floors, went right up to the attic. And she said, "I don't like it any up here." She said, "There's like a nasty presence of a man. He's stopping children coming out and playing and whatever." And we'd already sensed things like this. So I went back down into the base room, and I was just making sure everybody was all right in different areas. Next minute, we heard them all running down, and she was in front of them screaming and shouting. She didn't want to stay up there anymore. And I said, "Hang on a minute, you're the medium. If you're scared, how the bloody hell are we going to cope?" So she never wanted to go back there. Yeah, how can you have a medium scared to death?
Did anybody ever? Did anything ever affect anybody's energy and like change the persona though? You know, like
we have Nanny Lynn, haven't they?
Yeah, we know they have Nanny Lynn. Yeah. But has anybody else that you've been with, you know, like did your voice? And I don't mean in a negative way, but like somebody sort of like out of character.
There was I vaguely remember a couple of people at the Woodchester said they felt different, they felt odd, but they were all right when they came away. But it was just small little things, nothing major, I don't think. But the same medium that I said just now, she did Transfiguration, and she did that at Woodchester Mansion. We had all the lights out, and we were sat by a lovely open log fire, and she did Transfiguration with her, and her face changed dramatically, and she looked not evil but impish, very, very impish. And there is a story of a being or an entity up there that does seem like a dwarf, the ragged dwarf or something like that. And she said the night before she was going to go to Woodchester, he was laughing at the bottom of her bed and said, "I'm going to get you tomorrow." And she just dismissed it. But then when she got to do Transfiguration, he came through on her face and we all saw it. But she knew how to control it, so she was okay afterwards. But otherwise, nothing major. I mean, people have been frightened and they've been a little bit upset, but I always take them aside and say a prayer and just, reassure them that they'll be fine and nobody will go on with them. And a couple have said they've had attachments and we've sorted that out as well. But nothing sort of major that they've literally possessed them or took them over. Not as far as I remember, anyway. Oh, 1 minute. Who's this? I started crying uncontrollably.
Yeah, he did.
Ah, okay. I can't remember that one, James. You'll have to.
No, you were. That was the one investigation I did at the folk museum.
Yeah. Right.
And he just broke down in tears, and he didn't know why. But I can remember when we did the sleepover in the Roman bastion under Boots.
Yeah.
Something happened to him there, and he was sick. Can you remember that?
No, I can remember doing it, but I don't remember him being sick.
He was either sick or he felt really sick. Something had attached to him then. But he was all right the next day, so it couldn't have gone with him.
Yeah.
But he's quite receptive, really. He believes in it as well.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. We did this charity night, and Dave worked on the hire the toilet people. Well, I know, hire the toilet, don't they?
It was a Portaloo company.
Portaloo. He hired this. He had this Portaloo for us outside Boots, because obviously we were doing an overnighter for charity. There was nobody there, no toilets or nothing, and they stuck it right outside the door, right at the side door. And we were all in our pajamas because it was literally a charity night. So every time we come out into the outside and went into the Portaloo, unbeknownst to us, we was being watched by the police because a camera was just over, pointing straight down the alleyway where we were. And we didn't realise it till afterwards. So they probably thought, who the bloody hell's that lot then? I think we probably told them, didn't we? We were never bothered, but not a lot of us slept and not a lot happened, did it? Apart from, like you said, James was a bit upset, but we heard noises in the morning, but we think that was just Boots opening and getting ready to open the shop.
Yeah.
Oh look, Prince just come in.
Do you think sometimes, like James felt that in the emotion, and then in that other place he felt the sickness? Do you think sometimes it's just the energies stepping closer, just to give you, not to attach to you or anything like that, but just stepping close to you because you're quite open, so they can describe how they're feeling to somebody, rather than it being an attachment coming in. It's just that wave of their emotions that they would have been feeling. So I wonder if James is is it empathic?
James is
definitely is. He's definitely empathic. He just everything sort of affects him like that, and he's seen things as well. He just can't. Well, nobody can explain it really.
The footprint in the bit where Bath was. Oh yeah, there was a footprint in the bit where the horse bars were. Yeah. That's the same place underneath Boots. What they did is, many years ago, the horses and carts would be driven into this area, and they called it the horse pool. And the horses and the carts would be washed before they went into the city. And the strange thing is, when the water came in, the water came in from the latrine as well, so it all filled in there and whatever. And I was told by the museum, the bloke at the museum, he told me all these stories, and he said they actually swam in it. They used that as a swimming pool. And you can imagine the horses and carts with all the muck on, and then the latrine stuff coming in. Ooh, you know, no wonder they had the plague, innit?
I know.
Yeah.
It's like them swimming in Norfolk Broad.
But yeah, I mean, some mediums have said as well that when they're on platform and they're saying messages, giving out readings and messages, or I've got chest pain here, take it off, it's not mine, or I've got an earache or an arm ache or something. But I remember Angela went to the Dick Witt and we did a psychic supper one night, and she was talking, and all of a sudden she said her leg hurt, and then she went, ow, somebody had actually kicked her. Literally kicked her leg. Nobody was by her, but she literally kicked her. So they do listen. They do hear what you're saying, and if you're right, they're usually okay with it. But if you're not, or you're wrong, or you say something wrong, they let you know. They let you know. What's that look for? Dave looking around.
No, Tracy's going to bed.
Oh, is she
going to bed? Night, Tracy. Sweet dreams.
Good night, Tracy.
She's taking the dog as well. Thank God.
James, I walked down the 10 or so there was nothing there. Walked up and there was a footprint, a foot, not a boot either. So it couldn't have been me as I had trainers on.
I can remember that. There was a wet footprint from the horse pool on the floor, but nobody had been in the horse pool where the rain had come in.
That's couldn't have been him because he had trainers on. Yeah, that's right. Is that Trish there?
Yeah.
Hello, Trish. When they do not do that a lot, I'll just make it because it will fit someone watching. When they do what? Don't know what you mean, Trish.
I don't know if she's on about transfiguration. I think she's on about transfiguration.
Transfiguration. Yeah. And I don't think, I mean, there's been a couple of occasions where we've been out, and there were at one point we were in the, and I felt as though something touched my leg, but I didn't say it. And then about 2 minutes later, John said, something's just brushed past my leg. And I was like, I've just felt that. But I didn't want to say it because I thought I'm going to sound daft. And then I felt like somebody's played with top of my head. Just like, But again, I sort of like doubt it, and I'm like, oh, it's just my own hair touching me. How
many times have we dismissed stuff and know it's true?
Yeah,
corner of your eye stuff, and then you look down. It was true. It is true, but we dismiss it.
And imaginary friends when you're kids.
Yeah. Jolene, you'll have to look back, darling. You'll have to look back at the beginning of this. Dave has told his story when he's seen a spirit at the New Inn. A full apparition. So rather than go through all that, scroll back, my darling, and then you'll see Dave's story about what he saw. When mediums say they have chest pain, so picking it up for someone related in chat. It could be, it could be related to somebody in chat, or it could be, who knows? Who knows? You can't say if a medium's doing a reading or platform or that. You can't say whether they're picking it up or whatever. But saying that, mind, I have had a couple of times I've had some feelings that wasn't mine, and say just take it off, please. And then I've asked somebody, and whoever I was reading for, and they said yes, my mum or my nan or whatever, but not all the time. I mean, the more things, the more time goes on, the more experience we have, the more we seem to pick up and see and sense and whatever. So it's like I said to you last week. I've gone through stages and different levels of experiences, which you can piece together. I was going to say piece together a book, but I already have, haven't I?
That's another story.
That's another story.
Well, I think it's
have a look, Julie.
We're still on like
mediums. It's not a fake.
journey.
Yeah. Yeah, there's good mediums and bad mediums. Yeah, we knew a good. I'm not mentioning no names, but we knew what we thought was a very good medium, and I still think he was. But he had to lower the tone of it by throwing a stone on an investigation one night, and he was caught. So there was no need for that. There was no need for that. He was already a good medium, so I don't know why he had to feel that he had to do that. Dave knows who I'm talking about, but I'm not mentioning names. But ego comes into it then, doesn't it? Ego, fame, and money. It takes over, and I believe that if people do that, spirit will take it off you. They will take that ability. If you're abusing it, they're going to take it off you. Definitely.
Well, because it's not something that you should.
Yeah. I mean, I never ever thought that I would be doing what I'm doing. I never thought I would. But like I said, over the years, I'm sort of picking up more. Just talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden a name will come up. It's like somebody in chat last week, wasn't it? And we messaged. I think we messaged each other afterwards. I thought, wow, but and a lot of people say, can you see this? Can you see that? You can't always if you're not tuned in. You got to be sort of tuned in. But then saying that, I'm not always tuned in, and it happens. So it's weird. It's weird how it takes over. Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like we're like a... Go on, Nanny.
No, go on.
No, go on. Sugar. It's
almost like I think it's almost like it's meant to be when it's needed for that person. Yeah, and then you get it. Because at the end of the day, if you're reading for somebody, if I'm reading for somebody, it's not my message. It's what I'm getting for them. And it's to help them, not me. And it might not make any sense to me. It might seem stupid. I see images, all sorts of things, but it doesn't mean anything to me. But it does to that person, and that's it. At the end of the day, and then you don't ask anymore. But you've delivered your message, they've accepted it, and that's it. If they want to talk about it, that's up to them. If they want to tell other people, it's up to them. Your ability to do that is fantastic. It's also your what's the word I'm trying to think of? You're not allowed to tell anybody else unless they want you to. It's confidential. Yeah. And you've got to know that. You haven't got to be a gossip and say, "Oh, I did this and I did that." No, it doesn't work like that. It's not meant to work like that. It's not ego. We're here to help people, and we're here as light workers to help each other, and the whole of mankind should realise that, especially now with all this COVID. I mean, look what happened with the with all the animals that came back out when it was locked down. That tells you. Yeah.
One thing that not bothers me. It makes me wonder. With mediums, and this might not be a popular question. It might. I don't know. But do you think there's a payoff for having that ability of a mediumship? Because if I've noticed a lot of mediums or people that are getting messages, they have quite a lot of illnesses or bad illnesses. You know what I mean?
As though there's like a price, not a price to pay for it.
You know what I mean? Like,
if
you look at what
you mean? The mediums get illness.
Yeah, the mediums. Themselves suffer from quite a lot of illnesses. I'm not saying they're life-threatening illnesses, but they're like, I don't know.
I know what you mean. It's I thought of it then. I know what you mean. It's because you're an empath, you're picking up on their symptoms and their illnesses, but you are supposed to get rid of it and get away with it, but not always possible. I mean, I could reel off my illnesses, but I always feel that. A lot of people say, "Oh, why me? Why me?" But I always feel that because I've had cancer and I've had this and I've had that, I can now help somebody else that's had it. You can't help them if you haven't had it. So it's a curse in a way, and it's also a blessing in another way, because you're learning from your experiences to pass on to other people. So it's your knowledge is their knowledge, and then their knowledge passes on and passes on. And then it becomes history, and then it becomes helpful to other people. But you cannot do that if nothing happens in your life. You know,
no,
like
it's always bothered me that maybe this gift, this talent, this whatever they've got, that you're obviously sensing spirit or energy or whatever, affecting people's own body itself, and it's like causing not that you're sensing their illnesses, but it's causing illnesses in the people that are sensing the energy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. You can't quite put your finger on it, can you?
It's not in a bad way, but it's just
yeah.
But
yeah,
I wonder if it's because you're not empathetic. It's down to that empathy side of it, you know. Because if you're struggling with if you're struggling with something, and somebody's struggling, and you come to a medium, if they've got that like sort of understanding of certain illnesses and stuff, it like gives them that bit more compassion.
Yeah, I think so. Sense? Yeah. Yes, it does. Yeah, absolutely. James says, I did have a cry reading from Lynn 8 or 9 years ago, and it right. But he'd love a reading.
I think he means crystal reading.
Oh, okay. He wants a reading for somebody who don't really know me much. Well, Lindsay does tarot, don't you, Lindsay? She does
I do tarot cards.
Tarot cards on. We'll give you the link, James.
Well, James, if you want me to do your tarot card, all I need you to do is send me a message. Just wait on Facebook and just give me a number that's relevant to you. So it could be like your birthday or a car number, your house number, a digit off, something that's close to you, anything like that. And I'll do you a reading by reading the number. So I don't have any information about you. I just do it off the like numbers that you send me. But if you want one, James, just send me a number through inbox, or ask your dad to send me a number for you, and I can do it that way. It's up to you.
There you go, James. Yeah. Is there any tales that give away a bad medium? As there's a lot out there, and there's a lot of true medium tales. I go by when I'm watching me. Sorry,
I was going to say, I think for me, it's if they come highly recommended. For me, I think that's
yeah. But if there's somebody that I don't really know, you don't want to judge anybody because everybody's different. But if you've got a gut feeling, or they're stumbling, or they're saying stuff that's pretty generic, it puts flags up for me. And then perhaps I think, well, perhaps they've had a bad night, we'll go again another night and whatever. But I always go with my gut feelings, whether I know one's genuine or not.
So there's a lot of generic things that we can say. And,
but I mean,
they're looking for your responses, and I think that's what you've got to watch for.
Too many questions. Yeah, too many questions. Yeah, that's mainly it. Too many questions.
Nanny Lynn, other day we were talking, and Nanny Lynn just said to me, "Do you know a Roger?" And I said to you, "Do you know a Roger?" And I was like, I wasn't sure. And Nanny Lynn said to me, she says, it's an uncle, but he's not related. So, you know, like when you go back to your childhood, and there is actually a Roger, he was a taxi driver, but he was known as Trevor, and that's how I knew him, but his name was Roger. And I asked my mum about it, and it all makes sense now.
Yeah, if it was friends of the family, we were young, we used to say uncle and aunties, didn't we? Though they were blood related.
Next door neighbours were uncle and auntie. And, very strange. So you got
weird. Yeah. That was just by talking to you, wasn't it?
It was. We were just having a chat. Oh, look, he's back.
Boris is back.
He says, I don't want to go to bed with Mama. You're welcome, James, my lovely. Just drop me a message.
Look at this.
Do you know?
I think they need to cleanse themselves and ground after John. Bon says that to you, John, I think. They need to cleanse themselves and ground. Found ourselves.
Yeah.
Something you must have said,
Yeah.
John. Yeah.
It were about when I were
Yeah,
illnesses with mediums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Don't take it with you. Yeah, that's it. Because you can actually take attachments home with you, and you don't know sometimes. But
And I suppose
that just reminds me.
Go on.
Sorry,
Well done.
I think I told you last week. I think I told you last week when you were saying about attachments and possession stuff. I think I remember telling you last week that my friends noticed I'd changed and I was different.
Yes,
And
I
they
remember
said,
you saying.
you're more snappy and whatever. And I'd got an attachment. That's it. Yeah. And I went to see a friend and she got rid of him. Yeah. But yeah, I did tell you. I remember now. Yeah. So,
This has got
yeah.
attachment.
Yeah. To a coffee cup.
She's grumpy and snappy at me.
Oh no, that's menopause.
Oh,
I know how you feel, mate. I know how Tracy's the same.
I'll tell you what. I was cussed and we ended up having a big row today just because I didn't get up. It was about 20 past 1. I do sleep in sometimes. And
Sometimes.
Are you getting up today? I'm 70 years old. I'll get up when I flaming well want. I'll go to bed when I want. I don't have to be shouted at and say get up. I'm not going to school.
I think sometimes the bodies just need it, don't
I don't know. I'm getting close to 50 now, and it's just a good day if I get up.
Well, what have I got to get up for? I'll get up when I need to. Trish said, not it is Trish. It's like being said, get up, you've got to go to school. Well, I'm 70 if I want to lie in. I mean, sometimes what he doesn't realise is sometimes I have a bad night. I don't sleep. Yeah. And then, bless his heart, my Pino, the cat, he comes up 4 or 5 times a night and he touches my face with his paw, and he wakes me up 4 or 5 times. As soon as he does that, I need to go to the toilet, and then I got to feed him. And I've wanted him to do that a long time because he didn't get on with Bella very much, but he's come back now and he does it. So I do love it, but it's annoying. I'm getting broken sleep. That's if I even get to sleep, But I don't tell him when to go to bed and tell him when to get up. No, I don't. But so I just wondered why.
It's like some nights, Nanny Lynn, I'll go to bed at like 2, 3 o'clock, and I'm up at like 6:30, 7. And then I'll do that for like 3 or 4 days. And then it comes to one day and I'll just get up and all I do is I sit and I'm just sleeping all day. And it's as though my body clock, that's how my body clock seems to have got used to. I think it's the pain level you're in, and it's just like that thing on your body. It's like clocking.
Yeah.
And then you catch up there afterwards.
Yeah. I used to go to bed 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, but Bella won't let me now.
No, she's at your side telling you, lucky you got a nice cat. My old cat used to attack my feet to make me wake up and claw at my hair. Bless you,
yeah.
I think there's so many places that haven't been investigated or not investigated enough. I think in UK. And I think we hear a lot of stuff like about America. Like you've got your Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and you've got all these like
Alcatraz.
Yeah, you've got all these big things. But I think in UK, we've got some very unique and special locations that that haven't been touched.
I mean, that's one thing I like about Amy from MIT. They go to a lot of places you've never seen before.
Yeah, we've not heard of.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been watching some of their stuff lately. Yeah, and we've got. Have you seen some of these programs? I think I've joined one recently where they've got like derelict and empty mansions, millionaires' mansions, and where they just up and left. Everything's still there. What a waste! And you get these urban explorers in, and Oh my God! Yeah,
Right.
it's amazing, absolutely amazing. And then there's other places where it's absolutely filthy, and they're showing you around, and I'm sat here scratching and itching. Don't you start,
Do you
Dave?
know, yeah.
You start, Dave. He knows if I say scratch your itch, I should start itching. When we used to go out on our paranormal nights and I started itching, or somebody mentioned fleas or ticks, they knew I was off. And all of a sudden, the whole lot would be there going, and I went, stop it, you lot.
It's got to be done.
Gotta be done. Oh, the buggers. One of the best places we've invested in has only been touched by us over 5 years. What we uncovered was amazing. Oh, right, okay. You're going to tell us where then?
She'll not know.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's amazing how many places in the middle of nowhere. These places as well, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not just mansions; it's houses, it's castles, it's like places you go to. But these are complete.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds of them. And I'm thinking, they're going on and on about the homeless, and they're all just rotting away.
We said that. We said that about RAF Fenton. Obviously, RAF Fenton now it's gone downhill because it's been left abandoned years. But when it was first left abandoned, I mean, there were bedrooms there, quarters for all. So why couldn't they have done some of them up for homeless to live in, like shelters, you know, or something like that?
Yeah. I like what James just put. Do you ever feel that way, Dave and Nanny Lynn? James has put when he walks past or drives past the Narrowwater Castle, he always gets a sad feeling when they drive past. Have you ever actually, while you're out, you know, like driving about or going to shop or whatever?
Definitely, 100%. I used to work for a Portaloo company, and I'd do certain areas certain days. And I used to go to Marlborough area, and there's Avebury Hill there, which is a man-made fort. And I always used to feel sick driving past that. As soon as I got past it, I was all right. But just get a dodgy stomach, so like a turning in me butterflies in my stomach. Every time it's on the A4 out of Marlborough, and it's called Avebury Hill.
And
that's really weird there.
Thanks for that, Trish. Yeah, I remember.
Have you ever looked at history on that, Dave, to see if there's any links there to why you'd feel that way, or?
Never thought to do that, to be honest. But I just know it was every week I'd go past there and I'd feel exactly the same.
Yeah. Wow, that'd be interesting.
I feel a lot of emotion to Avebury Stones.
Yeah,
and a lot of other old places and churches as well. And I'm almost visualizing what it was like years ago. And some of these ruins, I like to see what it was like when it was not a ruin. You know, I sort of you know, my mind's going back. And I said, when I've always said this, when it's my time to pop my clogs, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tour around all these places and look back in history. And all the places we can't go now, you know, who goes into these mansions and stuff, they got the red rope saying you can't go through. Well, I'm going to go sailing through because they won't be able to stop me. And I'm going to have a bloody good nose all around.
Oh, dear. I'd like to do that, though. Just get in a camper van and just drive and just go to all these locations, pull up and just sneak in.
Yes, I have visited Margam Castle. I caught a person on the balcony above. I also sensed coming down the stairs, the grand staircase at Margam Castle, not knowing any of the history, that somebody was pushed down those stairs and killed. And I found out afterwards that was true. What was the rest of it? Can you pop that back up? What I didn't read it. Or
sorry,
what Trish? No, I haven't checked the church side. No, I haven't. On the side of the mountain behind it. No, I haven't, but there's always hopefully time, isn't there?
There is. Is that easily accessible as well, Trish? Is that easy accessible?
Markham Castle is. I should imagine the church is as well. I mean, it's in its own grounds, isn't it? When we went, there was loads of deer everywhere. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. What
What's
happened? What happened was there a call to the police. Call Ruck. There's some sort of accident of the police came. The bomb.
Ruck is Royal Ulster Constabulary.
Ah, and that there was some sort of accident. The police came there. Oh, he's on about where you sent something, Dave. And Is he?
No, that's by him. That's the castle by him.
Oh, that's the castle by him. Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
I think what it was when it was the troubles there, it was like a checkpoint between the north and the south.
Yeah. Oh, Carol and me. I was always drawn back to medieval times. Oh my God, yeah. I think medieval times was very cruel, very barbaric, but I was always drawn to it. And poor God, I'd done past life regression with me.
I knew you were going to go on about this.
He's laughing. Shut up. Don't you dare. And I was past life regression. I was Matilda, and I sold fruit in the day and my body at night. And this lot was laughing their heads off. Said, "Oh, no change there then. Still out at night." That was true. Matilda in the day, fruit in the day, my body at night. And I married this sailor, and he went on to say about what happened to him, and I said, "He buggered off and left me," just in that sort of. But then I ended up marrying somebody else with money, had 3 or 4 children, I think, and I was called Lady Matilda then. So there you go, please. Curtsy next time you see me, Dave.
Yeah,
okay.
Kiss the hand, Dave.
Kiss the
Kiss the hand.
Yeah, that's it. Kiss the hand. Yeah, Lady Matilda.
Wow,
So,
be interesting to have a look at, Trish. Yeah. But I think it's been another fantastic evening, hasn't it?
It's flew by again. It's nearly half past.
I know you come on and it's like it's like time just stops, time freezes, and you look down at the clock and you think. I mean, the other week I think it were 11 o'clock, and it was like, have we really been talking from 8:30 till 11 o'clock?
I know.
It was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. But no, Dave, definitely, if you get your page back up and running, if you send me a link, I'll share it out on our page. And,
okay, that'd be brilliant.
Also, we'll bring you back on, and you can tell everybody. Or if you want to do it now, you can talk to everybody and tell everybody what you're going to start doing, or have a think about it, and then come back on another live.
I'll have a think about it. I'll give it a couple of weeks because, like I said, I've just had that surgery, so I want to get myself up and about more first.
Yeah, you went up today and you weren't very well, was you?
No.
Oh, bless him. So it's it's a long process, but he'll get there. I'm very proud of him. Very proud of him.
Bless you.
Oh, I mean it.
James says, I've enjoyed it. Can't believe there wasn't more watching. Sometimes, James, I think if there's a bit of drama that's going off on both platforms,
oh my God.
Drama, but then they come back in and then they go. But then you've got other people going live at different times that they'll watch, and then it's like, and then it all comes back in, and it's up and down. But it's just one of them. People watch it afterwards as well.
We take what we get, don't we? And if it was drama, we'd have over 1,000 on here.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly, quality over quantity.
And like you said, people could look back. I mean, we had a good response of people looking back last week's as well. So
we did,
we don't care. We've done what we've done, and if people's enjoyed it, that has come into chat. That's all the great.
That's it,
what we aim for. So so thank you everybody that has actually popped on. Thank you,
Yes.
John and Lindsay, again for inviting me.
Oh, you're
Very
welcome.
welcome
You,
anytime,
Nanny
Nanny.
Lane, you can come on here with Dave, and Dave, you also. You can
Okay.
join us any time you want. I mean, we always like do a chit chat on a Tuesday.
Most Tuesdays.
Most Tuesdays we do a chit chat night. But yeah, anytime you want to come on, you know, all you've got to do is just send me a message and say, right, I'm joining you.
Yeah. Well, we know how to do it now, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
If you're not arranged to come on before and you're just watching, just send us a message and say, send me a link.
Do you know, if we're ever on and we're chatting about anything, just message me and just say, send me a link, and then I can send you a link to join us on chat.
Yeah.
But thank you so much to both of you for joining. It's
been no problem.
Absolutely amazing, and it's been lovely to meet you, Dave, and to see you.
And you too.
Yes. So everybody, we are live tomorrow at 9 o'clock. We are out with Vonnie.
HAPN
Paranormal Team, and we will be live at 9 o'clock. Are we on Facebook or YouTube?
We'll find you.
I think it might be Facebook tomorrow night. I'm not sure. I will post. Do love listening. James has put, I do love listening to Auntie Linda's stories.
Auntie Linda. Okay. All
right then, my lovelies. Take care, everybody, and we shall see you all soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Good night, all.